The scream tore through the forest just as the iron jaws snapped shut. Rowan Vale felt the trap before he saw it, steel teeth biting into his ankle, silver heat exploding through his veins. He hit the ground hard, dirt in his mouth, breath punched from his lungs. The night answered with howls, distant and furious, but none close enough to save him. "Damn it," he growled, voice rough, feral, nothing like a king's. Blood soaked into the leaves. Silver. Someone had planned this. Footsteps crunched closer. Rowan dragged himself upright, teeth bared, eyes glowing gold despite the pain. If this was how the Lycan King died, alone, bleeding, trapped like prey, he would make it expensive. Then a smaller figure burst through the trees. "Don't move," a girl shouted, breathless. "You'll tear it deeper." Rowan froze, not because of the command, but because of the scent that hit him like a punch to the chest. Warm, wild, familiar in a way that made his heart stutter. Human, but not. She dropped to her knees in front of him, hands shaking as she examined the trap. Moonlight spilled over her tangled dark hair, her wide eyes bright with fear and stubborn resolve. "Who are you?" Rowan demanded. "Later," she snapped. "If I don't disable the silver core, your leg is done." She pulled a small vial from her pocket, uncorked it with her teeth, and poured a thick black liquid over the trap. The metal hissed. The silver glow dimmed. Rowan stared. No human knew how to neutralize silver. With a sharp twist and a grunt of effort, she pried the jaws apart. Rowan roared as the trap released him, then collapsed forward, straight into her arms. She gasped under his weight. "You're heavy." Okay, don't die on me." "I don't die easily," he muttered, though darkness tugged at the edges of his vision. Her hands pressed against his wound, warm light flaring beneath her palms, faint, instinctive, gone as quickly as it came. Rowan went still. Magic. When he woke, he was not in the forest. He lay in a stone chamber lit by firelight, his leg wrapped in clean bandages, the silver burn already fading. The scent was everywhere now, woven into the walls, the air, the sheets beneath him. She stood near the hearth, back to him, shoulders tense. "You're awake," she said softly, without turning. "Good. I was starting to think I imagined you." Rowan pushed himself upright, pain flaring but manageable. "You dragged me into Blackridge territory." She turned then, eyes sharp. "I live here." He studied her fully this time. Slim, yes, but not fragile. There was something coiled beneath her skin, something restrained. "Dangerous." "What's your name?" he asked. "Lyra Ashen." The name meant nothing. That bothered him. "I'm Rowan," he said. She snorted. "That's a lie." His lips twitched. "Fair." Silence stretched. Fire popped. Outside, wolves howled their allegiance to a king they didn't know lay wounded in a stranger's home. "You saved my life," Rowan said. "Why?" Lyra hesitated. "Because someone set that trap. And because I couldn't not." He rose slowly, testing his weight. His leg held. He turned to face her fully, dominance rolling off him in waves he no longer bothered to suppress. Her breath caught, but she didn't step back. "Silver traps don't exist without a reason," Rowan said. "Someone wants me dead." Lyra's jaw tightened. "Then you should leave before they come back." "I can't," he replied. "Not yet." She crossed her arms. "That's not my problem." Rowan smiled, sharp and wolfish. "It is if they're hunting in your woods." Something flickered in her eyes. Anger, fear, something older. "They've been here before," she admitted. "Things have been wrong lately." He nodded. "I sensed it." Another silence, heavier now. Lyra broke it first. "You're not just some injured traveler, are you?" "No." Her laugh was short, humorless. "Figures." 3 days later, the elders found them. They burst into Lyra's cabin with steel and shouts, kneeling only when Rowan stepped forward, power flaring unchecked. "My king," the High Elder breathed. "We feared." "I know," Rowan cut in. "Who laid the trap?" The elder's gaze flicked, just once, toward Lyra. Rowan felt it immediately, a tug in his chest, a pull that made no sense. "What is she?" the elder asked carefully. Lyra stiffened. "I'm standing right here." Rowan stepped between them without thinking. "She is under my protection." The words echoed, binding. The elders exchanged looks. Murmurs rippled. "The council demands stability," the High Elders said slowly. "An attack on your life cannot go unanswered. A symbol must be made." Rowan knew that tone. He didn't like where this was going. A bond, the elder continued. A public one. To show strength. Unity. Lyra's eyes widened. Wait, what? Rowan turned to her, something cold settling in his gut. They want me married. To me, she snapped. You don't even know me. I know you saved my life, he said quietly, and that you are not what you seem. The elder bowed. The people will accept a human bride if you command it, my king, and if she lives long enough. Lyra laughed, sharp and disbelieving. Absolutely not. Rowan met her gaze, something fierce and apologetic colliding inside him. This will protect you, he said, and it will draw out whoever is hunting us. I'm not a pawn, she hissed. No, Rowan agreed. You're the bait. Her eyes burned. You arrogant. I will not force you, he said, voice low. But if you refuse, I can't promise they won't come for you anyway. The truth landed between them, brutal and real. Lyra swallowed. And if I say yes? Rowan stepped closer, the bond humming, awakening, ancient and inevitable. Then you become Lycan Queen, and anyone who touches you answers to me. She searched his face, seeing the monster, the king, the wounded wolf she'd pulled from a trap. Fine, she said finally, voice steady despite the storm in her eyes. I'll marry you. Rowan exhaled slowly. He had no idea the puny human girl standing before him carried blood older than his throne. And that one day soon, it would be her power, not his, that would decide whether he lived or died. The morning sun filtered through the high windows of Blackridge Hall, painting the stone floors gold. Rowan sat at the edge of his bed, the weight of a crown pressing on his shoulders, even though no ceremony had yet taken place. Lyra stood across the room, arms folded, a storm coiled behind her calm exterior. You're quiet, she said, voice sharp, almost teasing. Not used to a human telling you what to do. Rowan's lips twitched. I never tire of being underestimated. Lyra arched an eyebrow. And yet, here you are, injured and trapped. Seems overconfidence has its limits. I survived, he said, tone flat, but there was a glimmer of amusement in his eyes. Barely. Her eyes softened for a fraction of a second. And yet, you're still terrifying. He rose, moving closer, his presence overwhelming. Lyra, listen. Whoever laid that trap is just the beginning. There are forces moving against us, against me, and you've already drawn attention. She met his gaze, chest tightening. Why me? Because you're not like any human I've ever met, he replied. And something about you. He paused, searching for words. Something about you resonates with power I can feel, even if I can't yet name it. Lyra laughed softly, a sound that carried both fear and defiance. Power? I barely managed to keep myself out of trouble, and now you're talking like I'm some kind of magical weapon. You are, Rowan said, tone leaving no room for argument. And until we understand why, I need to keep you close. The first test came sooner than expected. That afternoon, a shadow moved along the forest's edge, silent and fast. Rowan smelled it before he saw it. Rogue wolves, scent chaotic and angry. Lyra froze beside him. Do I run? No, he said firmly, placing a hand on her shoulder. You stay. The pack burst from the trees, teeth bared, eyes glinting like shards of night. Rowan stepped forward, power flaring, his gold eyes locking on each intruder with lethal precision. The ground seemed to tremble beneath his presence. Lyra's heart hammered in her chest, and yet she stayed, rooted by something stronger than fear. She didn't understand why, but the moment she moved forward, instinctively, Rowan's danger became hers. Lyra now, he barked. Her hands shot to the vials she carried, shaking slightly. She flung one, a dark liquid that sizzled as it hit the rogue pack. They yelped, recoiling from its potency. Rowan roared and struck with supernatural precision, fangs and claws flashing. Within seconds, the attackers were down, retreating into the forest with snarls and broken pride. Rowan's chest heaved. You're stronger than I thought, he said, voice low, almost reverent. Lyra shook her head, trying to catch her breath. Lucky shots, she muttered. Nothing else. Rowan smirked, but the tension remained. No, he said, stepping closer. You're not lucky. You're dangerous. She stiffened. Dangerous? To whom? To anyone who threatens me, he said. And soon, I suspect, to yourself. Later that night, They stood on the balcony of Blackridge Hall, overlooking the forest now quiet under the moon's silver gaze. Rowan leaned against the stone railing, watching her as she traced the patterns in the frost. "You're thinking about the pack," Lyra said, voice almost a whisper. "Always," he admitted. "But I'm also thinking about you." She turned sharply, startled. "Me? What about me? You survived. You fought. You stayed when most would have run." His gold eyes locked with hers. "And you saved me again. Not once, but twice. First in the forest, and again by simply being who you are." Lyra's heart raced. "You make it sound like I'm something I'm not." "You are something I can't define," he said, stepping closer. "Something that even I, a king of Lycan blood, can't fully control. But I feel it. I can't ignore it." Her chest tightened. "And if I fail, then I will fail with you," Rowan said simply. "But you won't be alone." A tense silence fell. The wind whispered through the trees, carrying a scent that made both of them tense. Rogues, approaching, closer than before. Rowan's expression hardened. "Stay behind me," he said. Lyra's hands shook, but she obeyed. This time, when the rogue pack charged, she didn't hesitate. Vials flew, shadows twisted, and in a blur of gold and silver, Rowan moved with lethal grace. Yet even as he dispatched them, one rogue lunged past him toward Lyra. Without thinking, she shifted, flesh and bone yielding to something faster, stronger. A hybrid spark of power flared in her, unseen until now. The rogue's eyes widened before it was hurled back into the trees by a force it couldn't comprehend. Rowan froze, staring at her. What was that?" Lyra blinked, chest heaving. I don't know. It just happened." "You're not just human," he said, realization hitting him like a blade. "You're one of the hybrids. A true hybrid." She swallowed hard, fear and exhilaration mixing. "I never knew." Rowan stepped closer, hands brushing against hers. "Then it's time you learned. Your blood is ancient, connected to powers older than the Lycan clans. You've been hiding it, even from yourself." I don't understand," she admitted. "I've lived my whole life thinking I was ordinary." "Ordinary doesn't survive silver traps and rogue packs," he said, voice low and fierce. "You're extraordinary. And if we're going to survive what's coming, you'll need to embrace it." Lyra's breath caught. "Survive what?" He looked to the forest, eyes narrowing. "Survive me, and the war that's already begun." Before she could respond, a scream cut through the night, raw and human. Rowan's head snapped toward it, instincts flaring. "Not again," he muttered, already moving. Lyra hesitated, then followed, heart pounding, every nerve alive. This was no longer just about protection. It was about destiny, power, and a bond neither fully understood yet. And as they plunged into the darkness together, the first true test of their alliance had begun. The scream tore through the Blackridge woods again, sharper this time, closer. Rowan's senses flared, every muscle coiled like a spring. Lyra ran beside him, her heartbeat a drumbeat in sync with his own. The moon hung high, silver and judgmental, casting shadows that danced like predators. "Stay close," Rowan barked, voice low and dangerous. "They're not ordinary rogues. Something's changed." Lyra's hands shook, but there was fire in her eyes now, a courage that had never existed before. "Changed how?" she asked, breathless. "Stronger, smarter, organized," he said, fangs flashing as he growled. "And they're hunting you, not me." Her stomach dropped. "Hunting me? What?" Rowan didn't answer. Instead, he leapt forward, muscles coiling as if the forest itself obeyed him. He landed with a soft thud, senses slicing through the night. Two figures moved from the shadows, faster than any human should. Rogue hybrids, larger than normal, eyes glowing with malice. Lyra's pulse raced. "Rowan, she froze, realizing her hands were shaking not from fear, but from the surge of power she had felt last night. "Good," he growled. "You feel it. Don't fight it. Use it." The first rogue lunged. Rowan met it midair, claws tearing through flesh and bone. The second spun toward Lyra, fangs bared, muscles rippling. Her instincts took over. She barely had time to react, but her body moved as if guided by some ancestral rhythm. Shadow flared around her, power bending her limbs into something sharper, faster. The rogue slammed into her, but she twisted, throwing it off like it weighed nothing. Rowan's eyes widened. You're faster, stronger than I imagined. Lyra's chest heaved. I didn't know I could do this. You will, Rowan said, his voice a low growl as another pack of rogues burst from the underbrush. Or you'll die trying. The forest erupted into chaos. Rowan moved like lightning, ripping and tearing, fangs and claws flashing. Lyra followed, every movement instinctive, almost perfect. Together, they were a storm, the moon reflecting off their synchronized power. A rogue caught Lyra off guard, tackling her to the ground. Teeth aimed for her neck. She screamed, but the scream became a roar. Deep, primal, resonating from someplace inside her she had never visited. Energy burst from her chest, slamming the rogue back as if the world itself obeyed her command. Rowan's gaze sharpened. That's it. That's your power. The fight continued, relentless, until the last rogue was hurled into the forest with a pained howl. The woods fell silent, except for their ragged breathing. Lyra sank to her knees, shaking. I didn't know I had that in me. Rowan crouched beside her, hands on her shoulders, eyes intense. You've always had it. You just needed the right moment, and the right threat, to awaken it. Her gaze lifted, meeting his. And you? Why do you fight so hard for me? I don't just fight for you, he said, voice low and dangerous. I fight with you. You're not just a human girl. Not anymore. You're my hybrid. My queen. Lyra's heart skipped, the words reverberating through her chest. Queen. Yes, he said firmly. By bond, by blood, by choice. But if you don't accept it, you may not survive what's coming next. A rustle in the shadows made them both tense. Rowan's hand shot out, gripping her wrist, pulling her behind him. Two massive rogues emerged, larger, darker, with eyes like molten gold. Their leader, a hulking figure with a jagged scar across its muzzle, snarled. You've been hiding, the rogue growled. The hybrid belongs to us. Rowan's lips curled, showing teeth. Over my dead body. The fight was immediate, violent. Rowan launched himself at the leader, claws slicing through muscle and bone. Lyra, her adrenaline surging, joined in with a force that felt unstoppable. Shadows bent around her, energy whipping through the air like lightning, striking the rogues with every step. The leader lunged for Lyra. She twisted, channeling her energy, and slammed him against a tree with a force that cracked bark and broke bone. Rowan roared, taking advantage of the opening to rip through the remaining rogue with surgical precision. When the fight ended, the forest was silent again, save for the broken limbs and leaves scattered like confetti. Lyra dropped to the ground, breathing hard, energy flickering like dying embers. Rowan knelt beside her, brushing sweat-soaked hair from her face. You're incredible, he whispered, almost reverently. I've never seen anything like you. I didn't choose this, she gasped, voice trembling. I don't even understand what's happening to me. You will, he said. And soon, you'll realize that every ounce of this power, every shred of strength, it's meant to save you. And me. From everything that's coming. Lyra's gaze softened, fear and awe mingling. Then stay with me. Rowan's hand found hers, firm and grounding. Always. But you need to trust me completely. No secrets. No hiding. Not anymore. A low growl vibrated through the forest. Rowan's ears twitched. Another threat lurked nearby, one stronger, smarter. We've only just begun, he murmured. And next time, they won't run. Lyra tightened her grip on his hand, eyes wide, determination hardening. Then we'll be ready. The night closed around them, heavy with danger, tension, and the unspoken bond that had already begun to grow. And somewhere, unseen, the true mastermind watched. Calculating, patient, knowing that the Lycan King and his hybrid queen were about to step into a battle far larger than anything they had ever faced. The forest seemed to hold its breath as Rowan and Lyra emerged from the last skirmish, bodies bruised, hearts racing, yet neither willing to admit exhaustion. The moon painted silver lines across their skin, highlighting the raw intensity in their eyes. Rowan's gaze never left hers, and for the first time, Lyra felt the weight of his attention in a way that made her pulse quicken, not fear, but something else, something dangerously intoxicating. You're trembling, he said softly, voice low enough that only she could hear. Not from the fight. Lyra swallowed, forcing her lips into a tight line. Maybe I am, she admitted. Maybe it's just everything. Rowan stepped closer, closing the distance between them, and suddenly, the forest felt too small, too confining, too alive. You're more than you realize, he murmured. And if we survive tonight, you'll understand why. She looked up at him, eyes wide, searching for the words she couldn't speak. Before she could respond, a sharp snap echoed through the woods. Rowan's ears twitched, body instantly coiling like a spring. Another one? Lyra whispered, stepping back instinctively. Rowan nodded grimly. Not just another. Something else, something calculated. He moved ahead, silent, predatory, every muscle taut. Lyra followed, chest tight, senses screaming. She felt the pull in her veins again, the hybrid inside stirring, whispering, demanding action. A clearing opened ahead, moonlight spilling over it. And there, in the center, was a circle of figures cloaked in shadow. Their eyes glinted in the silver light, watching, calculating. Rowan's fangs gleamed as he growled low in his throat. You've been waiting, he said, voice icy measured. Who sent you? A tall figure stepped forward, hands raised, demeanor calm but lethal. We've been watching, he said. The hybrid is not ready, Rowan. And yet she is. That is why we are here. Lyra stiffened. Ready for what? Rowan's eyes narrowed. Judgment, he said simply. Or war. The cloaked figures moved in unison, speed and grace almost inhuman. Rowan growled, leaping forward, claws slicing the night. Lyra reacted instinctively, channeling her power in a way she didn't fully understand. Shadows bent and twisted around her, striking the cloaked figures with force that sent them sprawling. You're stronger than they anticipated, Rowan said, sidestepping a swing and slicing cleanly through a weapon aimed at him. Lyra's breath came fast. I'm not even trying. You are, Rowan growled, pulling her behind him. Your instincts are guiding you. Trust them. The leader of the cloaked figures moved closer, his aura radiating raw energy. Impressive, he said, voice like silk cutting through steel. But raw power without control is dangerous. For both of you. Lyra's gaze locked on him, chest tight. And what exactly do you want from us? Proof, he said, eyes flicking to Rowan and back to her. Proof of the bond. Proof that she is the hybrid she claims to be. Only then will the council accept her, and only then will you, Rowan, maintain your throne. Rowan's jaw tightened. I don't need their approval. Perhaps, the figure said smoothly. But their approval may determine if both of you survive the next moonrise. The words hit Lyra like ice. She felt her hybrid power thrumming in her veins, a wild, dangerous rhythm. Rowan's hand found hers instinctively, grounding her. We'll show them, he said, eyes blazing. Not because we need their approval, but because we survive together. The next moments were a blur. Rowan moved with lethal precision, every strike calculated. Lyra's powers erupted uncontrollably, shadows and energy bending at her will. They moved as one, instinct and trust guiding them, a dance of fury and survival. The cloaked figures retreated, regrouping at the edge of the clearing. Enough for now, the leader said. But know this, the council will not wait long, and they will test you again. Lyra's knees trembled as the figures vanished into the trees. She looked up at Rowan, chest heaving. I didn't think I could do that. You did, Rowan said, voice low and tense. And you will do more. Much more. If we're to survive, if we're to rule, if we're to live. Lyra swallowed hard, fear and exhilaration battling inside her. Live rule, she whispered. I don't even know if I'm ready for this. Rowan cupped her face, thumb brushing over her cheek. You are. You just didn't know it yet. And soon, the world will know it too. The wind shifted suddenly, carrying a scent that made both of them freeze. Not rogue wolves. Something older, darker, more calculating. Rowan's ears flattened. They're coming, he said simply, eyes scanning the shadows. And this time, they won't hesitate to destroy anything, or anyone, in their path. Lyra's grip on his hand tightened. Then we fight, she said, voice fierce. Together. Rowan's lips twitched into a sharp smile. Together, he agreed. And for the first time, both of them felt the true weight of their bond, the dangerous, unstoppable force they had just begun to understand. And somewhere deep in the forest, eyes glinted from the darkness, watching, calculating. The real enemy had arrived. The first rays of dawn slipped over Blackridge Hall, but sleep was impossible for either of them. Rowan paced the balcony, golden eyes scanning the distant tree line, while Lyra sat on the stone floor, knees drawn to her chest, mind racing with everything that had happened. "I can't believe I did that," she whispered, voice tight. "I almost." "Almost what?" Rowan asked, voice low, almost teasing, though the tension in his shoulders betrayed him. "Almost lost control," she admitted. "Almost. Let the hybrid take over completely. What if I hurt someone? What if I hurt you?" Rowan stopped pacing and crouched in front of her, gripping her shoulders gently but firmly. "Lyra, look at me," he said, voice steady. "You didn't lose control. You tapped into something inside you that was always meant to be. That's not a weakness, that's power. And I trust you." Her eyes filled, blinking rapidly. You trust me? After everything I've done. After everything you've become," he corrected, gold eyes glinting. "The hybrid inside you, it's not just a gift. It's a force that will protect us. And right now, that makes you indispensable." Lyra swallowed, tension easing slightly. "Indispensable, that feels heavy." Rowan chuckled softly, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "Heavy, yes, but also liberating. You are more than the life you thought you knew." Their moment was shattered by a harsh scream echoing from the forest below. Rowan's body tensed instantly. "Stay behind me," he ordered, voice sharp as steel. Lyra didn't hesitate. Her hybrid instincts flared in response to his warning. She felt the surge of power coursing through her veins again, strange, intoxicating, terrifying. Together, they moved silently toward the sound, the forest alive with anticipation. At the edge of a clearing, they found a group of rogue wolves circling a figure. Rowan growled low in his throat, ready to leap, when he noticed something strange. These rogues weren't attacking the human. They were holding back. Something in their stance, the way their eyes flicked to the shadows, warned of a hidden threat. Lyra stepped forward, and Rowan caught her wrist. "Don't," he said, tone warning. "There's more here than you realize." Before she could respond, the air shifted. A figure emerged from the trees, tall, cloaked, aura radiating authority and danger. The rogues instantly bowed their heads, retreating slightly. Rowan's eyes narrowed. "Who are you?" he demanded, fangs flashing. The figure removed their hood slowly, revealing a sharp, elegant face framed by silver-white hair and eyes that seemed to pierce the soul. "I am Lysander," the figure said, voice calm, commanding. "And you, Rowan Blackridge, and your hybrid companion, are under observation. Your actions have consequences beyond your understanding." Lyra's breath hitched. "Observation? You mean they're watching us?" "More than watching," Lysander replied smoothly. "They are testing the bonds, testing the strength of your hybrid. If you fail, the Council's wrath will descend. If you succeed, you will earn your place in a hierarchy far older and more dangerous than either of you realize." Rowan stepped protectively in front of Lyra. "Hierarchy? Council? I don't answer to anyone." Lysander's eyes gleamed. "You already do. By existing, by surviving, by harboring the hybrid within her. That power does not go unnoticed." Lyra's pulse raced. They want to control me?" "Not control," Lysander corrected, lips curling faintly. "They want to see if you are ready. And if you're not, the consequences will be fatal. This world is not forgiving, Lyra. Not for humans, hybrids, or kings alike." Rowan's jaw tightened. "Then we don't fail. Do you understand me?" Lysander's smile was faint but cruel. "Understand this. The next challenge will not come from rogues or chance. It will come from those who know the darkest secrets of your hearts. Only the bond between you two, tested to its limits, will determine who survives." Lyra felt her stomach twist. "Secrets? Dark secrets?" "Yes," Lysander said simply. "And the first begins tonight." Before she could ask more, he vanished into the trees, leaving a silence heavy enough to suffocate. Rowan's hands found hers, gripping tightly. "They've just set the stage," he said grimly. "And the game has already begun." Lyra's hands shook, but she nodded, steeling herself. "Then we fight. Together." Rowan's lips curved in a sharp smile. "Together," he agreed, and for the first time, the weight of everything, the danger, the unknown, the raw power between them, felt like it might be something they could handle. As the night drew on, Shadows danced across the forest, and far in the distance, unseen eyes watched their every move. The real threat wasn't the rogues, wasn't the traps. It was coming, patient, calculating, and waiting for the moment to strike. Lyra swallowed, feeling power and fear mingling inside her chest. "Rowan, don't speak," he said, voice low and steady. "Not yet. Not until we know what's coming. But know this, I will never let anything harm you. Never." And in that moment, Lyra realized that she didn't just trust him, she needed him. Not just for survival, not just for power, but for the bond that had already begun to shape their fate. The night deepened, draping the forest in shadows that seemed almost alive. Rowan and Lyra moved silently along a hidden path known only to the Lycans, each step measured, every sense alert. The earlier attacks had left them both exhausted, yet something raw and unrelenting kept them moving. Fear, adrenaline, and an unspoken bond neither could deny. "We need to reach the ridge before sunrise," Rowan said, voice low, almost a growl. "That's where the council's first test will take place." Lyra's stomach tightened. "Test? I thought we were surviving rogues and attacks. Now a council test." Rowan's golden eyes narrowed. "The rogues were the appetizer. This is the real course. If we fail, there's no retreat, no forgiveness, only consequences." Her pulse raced. Consequences like death? He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he turned to her, expression unreadable. "Possibly. But you've already survived more than most hybrids ever will. And you're stronger than either of us knows." The wind shifted, carrying the scent of something metallic and ancient. Lyra's hybrid instincts flared. Her eyes, momentarily glowing with a strange silver light, tracked movement in the darkness. "Rowan, something's close." Rowan's stance tightened. "Stay behind me." From the shadows, figures emerged. Not rogues this time, but Lycans, black-furred, taller, more disciplined. They weren't hostile, yet every muscle in their bodies radiated tension, waiting. At their center, a figure stepped forward, tall, imposing, clad in dark ceremonial robes. His eyes glimmered with an otherworldly light. "Welcome, King Rowan and hybrid Lyra," he intoned, voice resonating like a chime of iron. "I am Eric, keeper of the council's trials. Tonight, your bond will be tested, body, mind, and spirit. Only together can you survive what comes next." Lyra swallowed hard. "Bond? What kind of test?" Eric's gaze sharpened. "The kind that exposes the deepest fears, the darkest truths, and the hidden strength of your souls. You will face illusions, enemies, and each other. Fail, and one of you will die. Succeed, and your place in the hierarchy will be recognized." Rowan's jaw clenched. "We succeed. No question." Eric's eyes flickered toward Lyra. "Do you understand, hybrid? Your power is nascent but potent. It will grow in response to fear, to danger, to love, and to rage. Harness it, or it will consume you." Lyra's heartbeat quickened. "Consume me?" "Yes," Eric said flatly. "Power untested, uncontrolled, can destroy even its host. That is why the council watches. That is why the trials exist." Rowan's hand found hers instinctively. "We face this together. No illusions, no games." Eric inclined his head, as if acknowledging Rowan's words. "So be it. Your trial begins at the full moon's peak." Time is short. Before Lyra could protest, the forest shifted, darkness swirling like smoke. Shapes materialized, phantoms of faces she recognized, people from her past, twisted and menacing. Rowan's grip tightened on her wrist. "Lyra, focus on me," he commanded. "Ignore them. None of this is real. None of it touches you unless you let it." Her pulse raced as memories merged with illusions. Faces of loved ones, enemies, strangers, they all seemed to scream, accuse, or beg. A phantom version of her father reached out, voice distorted. "You are weak. You don't belong here." Lyra's vision blurred. I can't." Rowan's golden gaze locked with hers. "Yes, you can. You are not human. You are hybrid. You are fire and storm and shadow. And I will not let you fall." Her body trembled, and then something inside her shifted. Energy erupted along her limbs, bright and fierce, bending the illusions back like wind scattering leaves. The phantoms screamed and twisted, dissolving under her newfound control. Rowan's eyes widened in awe. You're commanding it. Lyra's chest heaved. I didn't know I could. You can, Rowan said firmly. You must. And together, we are unstoppable. Suddenly, the forest floor cracked, jagged lines spreading like veins. A massive, shadowed creature emerged, larger than any rogue, its eyes burning crimson, aura suffocating. Eric's voice rang out from nowhere. The second phase of your trial begins. Rowan growled, fangs flashing. Lyra, focus. This one's not a phantom. It's real. Lyra's eyes met his, fear mingling with determination. Then we fight. Together. Rowan nodded, and they launched into the fight, moving with perfect coordination. Rowan's claws sliced, teeth flashed, while Lyra's powers warped the shadows, bending the creature's attacks back against it. Every movement was precise, yet every heartbeat carried raw emotion. Fear, love, anger, and exhilaration. The creature roared, striking with massive claws. Lyra twisted, energy flaring, and threw it back into a tree with a force that splintered wood. Rowan leapt, rending its flank, and together, they drove it back. When the creature fell, smoke and shadow curling into nothingness, Lyra collapsed into Rowan's arms, shaking. I don't know if I can keep doing this, she admitted, voice trembling. Rowan pressed a gentle kiss to her forehead. You can. And you will. Every trial makes you stronger. Every danger makes us closer. You are mine, Lyra. Not because of force, not because of fear, but because our fates are entwined. She shivered, a mixture of relief, fear, and desire coursing through her. I think I'm starting to understand. From the shadows, Eric's voice echoed. Well done for now. But remember, the trials are only beginning. What you face tonight is a prelude. True power, true bond, will be tested further. Prepare yourselves. Rowan's jaw clenched, eyes narrowing. We're ready for whatever comes next. Lyra's hands found his, squeezing tightly. Together, she whispered. Together, he echoed, and for the first time, neither doubt nor fear could break the bond between them. Above, the moon reached its apex, full and commanding, casting silver light over two figures who had just begun to understand the true scope of their destiny, and the dangers lurking just beyond the shadows. The forest had grown quiet after the trial, yet the tension lingered like a living thing. Rowan and Lyra stood atop the ridge, the wind whipping through their hair, eyes scanning the horizon for threats that might never come, or that might be hiding, waiting. Lyra shivered, though not from cold. Rowan, every time I think we're safe, something else happens. I don't know if I can keep up. Rowan's hands found hers, strong, grounding. You can. You already have. Every step, every battle, every heartbeat. You've proven you're stronger than even you realize. I don't feel strong, she admitted, gaze dropping. I feel like I'm losing myself. You're not losing yourself, he said firmly, voice low and commanding. You're discovering who you really are. The hybrid inside you isn't a curse, it's a weapon, a gift, and you wield it like fire. Her chest tightened at his words, warmth pooling in her stomach. And you've always been this fearless? Rowan's golden eyes softened. Not fearless, calculated. And I've never met anyone who makes me feel unpredictable, like I'm alive in ways I didn't know I could be. Lyra's pulse quickened, words catching in her throat. Rowan. Before she could finish, a sharp crack split the air. Shadows surged at the edge of the ridge, and Lyra instinctively grabbed Rowan's arm. They're back, she whispered, eyes wide. From the darkness emerged not rogues, not ordinary wolves, but hybrid hunters. Beings of terrifying strength, their eyes glowing like molten silver, fangs bared, muscles rippling. Rowan growled low, a sound that vibrated through the forest. Stay behind me, he ordered, stance shifting to protect her. Lyra's body moved on instinct, hybrid instincts roaring to life. She could feel the energy coursing through her veins, a power she hadn't fully controlled yet, but that demanded action. Shadows bent around her, forming into blades and shields, ready to strike or defend. The leader of the hunters, taller than the rest, stepped forward, a jagged scar running down his face. His gaze fixed on Lyra. The hybrid, he hissed. You've grown stronger, but strength alone won't save you. Rowan's eyes narrowed. We'll see about that. The fight erupted like a storm. Rowan moved with lethal precision, every clawed strike calculated, fangs flashing. Lyra followed, her hybrid power bending the shadows, striking enemies before they even moved. Their coordination was instinctual, every motion synced, every breath in unison. A hunter lunged at Lyra, faster than she anticipated. She twisted, energy flaring from her body, throwing him into a tree with such force that the bark splintered. Rowan roared, tearing through another opponent, moving toward her as if drawn by some invisible thread. "You're incredible," he breathed between strikes, eyes blazing. "Never stop trusting yourself." I'm trying," she shouted, energy surging uncontrollably. A shadow whip shot from her arm, knocking two hunters off their feet. The leader hissed, fury flashing in his eyes. "This isn't over, hybrid. Not by far." Rowan growled, launching himself at the leader. "Then finish this." Together, they struck as one. Rowan tore, clawed, and bit, while Lyra manipulated shadows, bending the enemy's strength against him. The leader stumbled, caught in the violent storm of their combined power. With one final, coordinated strike, they sent him crashing into the ridge, defeated but alive, barely. Lyra sank to her knees, chest heaving, energy flickering like fireflies around her. I don't know how much more I can take," she whispered. Rowan knelt beside her, brushing sweat-damp hair from her face. "You don't have to know. You just have to keep going. And you're not alone. Not ever." Her eyes filled, trembling. I trust you. But it's terrifying. The power, the danger, it's too much." "Then let it terrify you," he said softly, voice grounding. "Because fear sharpens, fear fuels, and fear keeps us alive. And together, we are unstoppable." A sudden rustle made both of them freeze. Out of the shadows stepped a figure draped in black, a hood concealing most of his face, but the aura of command and danger radiating off him was unmistakable. "Impressive," he said, voice smooth as silk. "But raw power and courage alone will not save you. Not from me." Rowan's body tensed. "Who are you?" The figure lifted his hood slightly, revealing eyes that glowed with a strange, unnatural light. "I am Darius, and I am the reason the Council watches you, the reason your hybrid exists, and the reason the Lycan King may finally meet his match." Lyra's pulse hitched. "Your reason?" Darius smiled, a dangerous, predatory curl of his lips. "The hybrid you carry, the power you wield, was no accident. It was designed, tested, and now, it's time to see if it truly belongs in your hands, or mine." Rowan growled, stepping protectively in front of her. "You will not touch her." Darius laughed softly, a sound like breaking glass. "Oh, Rowan, touching her is the least of my plans. I intend to push you both to the brink, strip you down to the raw core of your bond, and see if you survive, or if your love is just another weakness." Lyra's hands gripped Rowan's, hybrid instincts screaming in response. "We will survive. Together," she said, voice fierce despite trembling. "Together," Rowan echoed, golden eyes blazing. "And you'll regret underestimating us." Darius's smile widened. "We'll see, Lycan King. We'll see." The wind whipped through the ridge, carrying a sense of foreboding. The next battle, the true test, was only just beginning, and neither Rowan nor Lyra would ever be the same again. Dawn broke with a crimson glow, painting the forest in ominous light as Rowan and Lyra descended into the valley below, their muscles taut, senses stretched to the limit. Every shadow seemed to breathe, every rustle of leaves whispering threats they couldn't yet name. The previous night's battle had left them raw and alert, but neither dared to slow. "Rowan, do you ever feel like we're being manipulated?" Lyra's voice trembled despite her determination. "Like every fight, every attack, every trial, it's all a setup for something bigger?" Rowan's jaw tightened. Darius is not just any enemy. He's calculating, cruel, and patient. He's been waiting for the right hybrid to surface, and the Lycan King to stumble into his plans. But we're not stumbling. We're hunting. Lyra exhaled shakily. "Hunting or being hunted?" "Both," he admitted. His golden eyes scanned the dense tree-line. "And if we falter, even for a second, we die." Lyra's pulse spiked. I don't want to die, Rowan. Not like this. Not now." "You won't," he said firmly. "Not while I breathe." Not while your hybrid blood runs in your veins. Not while we're together. The wind shifted again, carrying the metallic tang of blood and ozone. Lyra's hybrid instincts flared. She could feel the presence of another, closer than before, calculating, observing. Her hands glowed faintly with energy, shadows curling around her fingers. "They're here," she whispered. Before Rowan could respond, a dozen figures emerged from the mist. Hunters, more precise, more deadly than the rogues, their eyes silver with unnatural light. At their forefront stood Darius, his cloak flaring in the wind, a smirk playing on his lips. "You two are persistent," Darius said, voice cutting through the valley like a blade. "But persistence will not save you. The council does not forgive mistakes, and you have made many." Rowan growled, claws flashing. "Every attack you've thrown at us, every trap, has only made us stronger, and it will cost you dearly." Darius's eyes glimmered dangerously. "Strong? Perhaps. But are you truly ready? Lyra, hybrid, do you understand the full depth of the power you carry? Do you understand the bloodline you've inherited and the war it will bring?" Lyra's heart pounded. I don't know everything. I only know I can feel it, inside me. The strength, the hunger, the need to protect." "Exactly," Darius said smoothly. "And that is why tonight's challenge is not just a battle of strength, but of wills, hearts, and soul." Rowan's eyes narrowed. "What do you want from us?" Darius smiled, cruel and predatory. "I want to see if the Lycan King and his hybrid mate are worthy of survival. I want to see if their bond is real, or if it shatters when faced with true despair. And I will give you every reason to despair." Lyra's hands clenched, shadows curling like snakes around her limbs. "We'll prove them wrong," she hissed. "Together." Rowan stepped closer, chest brushing against hers. "Together," he affirmed. "No matter what comes." The hunters surged, faster than any predator they had faced. Rowan's claws flashed, his golden eyes glowing as he tore through their ranks. Lyra moved beside him, shadows lashing, energy erupting with every motion. Together, they were a force neither had fully comprehended until now. A hunter lunged directly at Lyra, fangs bared. She barely had time to react, twisting her body midair, and a blast of energy flung him into a tree with a shattering crash. Rowan tore through two others, muscles straining, instinct screaming. Darius watched, eyes gleaming. Interesting, but not enough. From the tree line, more hunters emerged, but this time, they were hybrids themselves. Humans infused with Lycan blood, each one a mirror of Lyra's potential, twisted and controlled. They were fast, strong, and relentless. Lyra's breath caught. They're, like me, but controlled. Not free. Rowan's hand found hers instinctively. "Then we fight, not just for survival, but for freedom." Energy and shadows erupted around them, a symphony of chaos. Rowan moved with lethal precision, fangs sinking into attackers, claws slashing, while Lyra bent shadows into barriers and weapons, striking with the force of storms. The hybrids moved as one, coordinated, deadly, but Lyra's instincts, raw and untamed, began to turn the tide. "You're stronger than I expected," Darius admitted, stepping forward. "But even your combined power is limited, bound by emotion, by loyalty, by desire." Rowan's eyes blazed. "Then I'll break those limits." Lyra's hands glowed brighter. "And I'll fight beyond mine." With a roar, they launched into a coordinated assault, each movement a testament to their bond. Rowan's claws ripped through the hybrids, Lyra's shadows twisted and bound, and together, they pushed back the tide. The battle reached its apex when Darius himself joined, power radiating like a storm. Rowan lunged, Lyra at his side, and for the first time, they were forced to fully synchronize, every heartbeat, every thought, every instinct perfectly aligned. "You think you can control me?" Lyra shouted, shadows erupting like a wildfire. Darius laughed, a sound that cut into her bones. "Control? No. I want to see if you can survive me." The clash was cataclysmic, energy and fury colliding in a blinding storm. Rowan's claws slashed, fangs bit, shadows struck, and in the chaos, Lyra felt something awaken deep within, power she hadn't realized she possessed, pure and untamed. With a final, desperate surge, they combined their strength, Rowan's raw Lycan power and Lyra's hybrid energy, into a force that shattered the ground beneath them, sending Darius stumbling back, retreating into the shadows. Lyra sank to her knees, breath ragged, energy flickering, hands trembling. I did it. Rowan knelt beside her, hands steadying her. You did, and we did it together. She looked up, eyes wide, filled with awe and something deeper, trust, love, and a fierce determination. Together, she whispered. Above, the sky bled into dawn, light washing over two warriors who had not just survived, but discovered the depth of their bond, their power, and the storm that awaited them next. The final battle began under a sky streaked with crimson and silver, the full moon bathing the valley in its eerie light. Rowan and Lyra stood at the edge of the cliffs, senses screaming in unison. Every shadow seemed to pulse with malice, every gust of wind carrying the whisper of death. Darius had returned, stronger, faster, and more terrifying than ever, and this time there would be no retreat. You've survived the trials, but survival is meaningless if you cannot overcome me, Darius intoned, eyes glowing like molten silver. Tonight, the true power of the hybrid will be revealed, and either one of you will fall. Lyra's chest tightened, a mix of fear and adrenaline surging through her. I won't let him hurt us. Rowan stepped close, fangs bared, golden eyes blazing. And I won't let him touch you. Not while I breathe, not while my claws can strike. A sudden rush of wind, and Darius was upon them. The world became a blur of motion. Claws flashed, shadows twisted, energy exploded. Lyra's hybrid instincts took full control, silver light flaring from her eyes as she manipulated shadows like living weapons. Rowan moved with lethal precision, every strike calculated, his fangs sinking deep into Darius's defenses. You've grown stronger, Darius hissed, parrying their attacks. But strength without control is useless. Your emotions will be your downfall. Lyra's heart pounded. She could feel the power inside her, wild and untamed, surging with every beat. Then we won't control it. We'll embrace it. With a cry, she unleashed the full force of her hybrid energy. Shadows erupted into tendrils of pure power, wrapping around Darius, striking him from every angle. Rowan lunged through the chaos, claws slashing, teeth flashing, fangs grazing Darius's shoulder. Pain flashed across Darius's face, but he laughed. A sound that grated on the soul. Impressive, but not enough. Not yet. Lyra's breathing grew ragged, but she could feel Rowan's presence beside her, steady, unwavering. Together, he growled, now. Their combined assault struck Darius with the force of a hurricane. Lyra's shadows wrapped around him, bending and crushing, while Rowan's raw Lycan strength tore and shredded. Energy collided, light blazed, and the ground itself trembled under the power of their union. Darius roared, staggering back, then launched a vicious counterattack. Lyra was thrown to the ground, pain searing through her limbs, but Rowan's claw shot out, catching her just before the next blow landed. Hold on, he growled, golden eyes locked on hers. You're not going down, not tonight. Summoning every ounce of her power, Lyra rose, energy blazing brighter than ever. I'm not just surviving, she shouted. I'm fighting, and I'm fighting for us. Rowan moved beside her, matching her intensity. Together, their powers intertwined, shadow and claw, light and fury, love and rage. They struck as one, a synchronized force of nature that Darius could no longer withstand. With a final, shattering blow, they hurled him back, crashing into the cliffs with a thunderous impact. The air went still. Darius lay motionless, the glow in his eyes fading. Lyra collapsed into Rowan's arms, trembling, chest heaving, energy flickering like dying stars. You did it, Rowan breathed, holding her close. You've surpassed even your own limits. Lyra looked up at him, tears in her eyes, silver light still glowing faintly. We did it together. Above them, the full moon gleamed, bathing the valley in silver light. Shadows receded, the wind softened, and for the first time in what felt like an eternity, the world seemed at peace. Rowan pressed a gentle kiss to her forehead. Lyra, hybrid, my mate, you're more than I ever imagined. Stronger, braver, and more powerful than anyone could comprehend. And she smiled through her tears, pressing a hand to his chest. And I trust you, Rowan. More than anyone, more than myself sometimes. Their eyes met, and in that gaze, a silent promise was made, of loyalty, of protection, of love forged in battle and fire, stronger than any threat, any enemy, any darkness. From the cliffs, a whisper echoed, soft, almost reverent. The hybrid and the king. Destined together, unbreakable, unstoppable. The future belongs to them. Rowan tightened his arms around her. Then let the world come. Whatever Darius, the rogues, or anyone else throws at us, we face it, together. Lyra's hand gripped his, hybrid energy still thrumming within her. Together, she echoed. Always. The wind carried their voices across the valley, a challenge to the world. Two souls, bound by fate, fire, and power, had emerged victorious. The Lycan King and his hybrid mate had not just survived, they had transformed. And as the first light of dawn touched the horizon, the promise of a new era began, a world where strength, love, and unyielding courage could overcome even the darkest of shadows. In the distance, Darius stirred, eyes opening, a slow, dangerous smile forming. This is far from over, he murmured, already plotting, already scheming. But Rowan and Lyra didn't hear him. They had each other. And together, they were unstoppable.